All right, so want to land one of those cool tech jobs? You know the ones I'm talking about, right? Well, those online coding challenges everyone's talking about are kind of a big deal.
Yeah, they're kind of the new wave in tech hiring.
Totally. And that's exactly what we're diving into today. We'll break down what they are, why they matter, and how you can rock them. Think of this as your cheat sheet for turning those algorithmic nightmares into job offer celebrations.
Exactly. Like no more freaking out when you see that blank coding screen.
Yeah, no more blank screen panic. So imagine this, right? You're staring at the computer screen. The clock is ticking. That little cursor is blinking. And you've got this coding problem that looks like it's straight out of the Matrix.
It's definitely a test. It's
Yeah.
how companies figure out who can really code and who, well, who might need a little bit more practice.
Platforms like HackerRank, CodeSignal, they're basically the digital coliseums where coding gladiators prove their worth, right?
Yeah, you could say that. It's where your code does the talking. Either it solves the problem or it doesn't, plain and simple.
So you convinced me these challenges are important. But why? Why are these things so important for someone who wants to break into the tech world?
It really comes down to objectivity. Your code either gets the job done or it doesn't. No biases, no fancy resumes, just pure coding skills speaking for themselves.
I see. So it levels the playing field in a way.
Exactly. And it gives potential employers a sneak peek into how you'd actually perform on the job.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So how can someone listening who's feeling a bit overwhelmed even begin to train for this?
Hmm.
Are we talking about secret coding boot camps hidden in the mountains somewhere?
I wish it were that exciting. But really, the secret is out and it's all about practice. Sites like LeetCode and HackerRank,
Yeah.
those are going to be your new best friends.
Got it. So no secret mountain hideouts, just good old-fashioned practice.
Pretty much. Start with the fundamentals, beta structures, algorithms, and then you can gradually work your way up to those brain-bending challenges. Remember, Rome wasn't built in a day, and neither is a master coder.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. It's all about building that strong foundation. You wouldn't try to build a skyscraper on sand, would you?
Not unless you want to see it crumble.
Precisely. And just like a skyscraper needs a solid foundation, so does your coding knowledge.
So you mentioned algorithms earlier. What exactly are they? Like, what are we talking about here?
Well, in simple terms, an algorithm is basically a set of instructions, a recipe, you could say, for solving a problem.
Okay, so like a recipe for a cake, but for code.
Exactly. You have your ingredients, which are like your inputs, and then you have a step-by-step process to follow, which is your algorithm, and the final result is your delicious cake, or in our case, a solved coding problem.
Makes sense. So when we're talking about algorithmic problem solving, what are these coding challenges really testing?
They're testing your ability to break down a complex problem into smaller, manageable chunks. Can you think logically, step by step, to come up with an elegant solution?
So it's not just about writing code that works, it's about writing code that's clever and efficient.
Yeah, it's about finding that sweet spot between accuracy and efficiency.
Efficiency, so that's a key thing they're looking for.
Absolutely. It's like this, right? Imagine you have to search for a name in a huge phone book.
Okay, I'm picturing a phone book the size of a small car.
Exactly. You could start flipping through it page by page, but that would take forever.
Right, especially if that name is at the very end.
And that's where efficient algorithms come in. We have these things called search algorithms, like binary search. They can dramatically reduce the time it takes to find what you're looking for. These platforms, they want to see if you can not only solve the problem, but solve it in a way that's smart and efficient.
So it's not just about brute forcing your way through, it's about working smarter, not harder.
Exactly.
So it's about choosing the right tool for the job, understanding which algorithms are best suited for different problems.
Precisely. You wouldn't use a hammer to tighten a screw, would you?
Definitely not. I've learned that the hard way. Okay, so we've talked about the importance of algorithms and efficiency, but you also mentioned something earlier about writing clean and readable code.
Right.
Why is that so important in these challenges?
Well, think about it this way. Imagine you're in the middle of a challenge, the clock is ticking, and you're trying to debug your code under pressure.
Yeah, that's already stressful enough.
Now, imagine your code is a tangled mess of cryptic variables and functions. It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Not a fun situation to be in.
Not at all.
In-
Clean, well-commented code, though. That's like having a roadmap with clear street signs. It's easier to understand, easier to debug, and it shows that you care about writing code that others can actually read.
So it's like writing a clear and concise essay. You want it to flow well and be easy to follow.
Exactly.
So we've covered a lot of ground here, but let's say I'm just about to tackle a coding challenge.
Okay.
Any tips to avoid a complete meltdown when that clock starts ticking?
Absolutely. First things first, don't just dive into coding head first. Take a deep breath and make sure you really understand the problem you're trying to solve. Read the instructions slowly. Even reread them if you have to. You don't want to miss any crucial details or make any assumptions.
Yeah, I've definitely been guilty of skimming through instructions and then realizing I missed something crucial.
It happens to the best of us. Once you're confident that you understand the problem, that's when you start planning your attack.
Planning your attacks sounds intense.
It's more about strategy than brute force. Think of it like drawing a map before you set off on a journey.
I like that analogy.
So before you even write a single line of code, sketch out your solution on paper or a digital notepad, whatever works best for you. Think about the algorithm you want to use, how you'll handle different inputs, edge cases, any potential roadblocks you might encounter. This planning stage can save you from a world of pain later on.
So it's all about thinking before you code.
Exactly.
Now, while you're in this planning stage, is it a good idea to consider the efficiency of your solution?
You're already thinking like a pro. Yes, absolutely. This is where you put on your efficiency hat.
My efficiency hat on and ready to go.
Love it. Ask yourself, can I make this solution more streamlined? Are there any steps I can cut out? Are there any redundant parts?
So it's about optimizing as you go.
Precisely. It's about finding that balance between a solution that works and a solution that works brilliantly.
Optimization music to my ears.
Yeah.
So we've got our blueprint, our efficiency hats are on, and we're ready to start coding. What now?
Now it's time to translate that plan, that beautiful blueprint you've crafted, into code.
Time to make it a reality.
Exactly. This is where those coding chops we talked about, making sure your code is clean, concise, well commented, it all comes into play.
Right, like we're back to that whole clear and concise essay analogy.
Precisely. Think of it like this. Would you rather read a well-organized essay with clear headings and smooth transitions, or a jumbled mess of thoughts?
Definitely the well-organized essay. No one wants to decipher a jumbled mess.
Exactly. And your code should be no different. Keep it clean, keep it mean, make it a joy to read.
Okay, so clean code. Check.
Yeah.
What about those common traps people fall into during this coding phase? You know, those moments where you just want to face palm and start over?
Oh, I know those moments all too well. One classic pitfall. Rushing through the code without testing.
Ah, yes. The I'll just write the whole thing and hope it works approach.
It's tempting, right? But trust me, it's a recipe for disaster. Testing as you go is so much more efficient. Catch those errors early on before they multiply like rabbits.
So it's like building a house, right? You wouldn't wait until the entire structure is up before checking if the walls are straight.
Exactly. Build a little, test a little. It's a much smoother process. Another common trap is overthinking.
Overthinking. You mean like trying to find the most complex, elegant solution when a simple one would do?
You got it. Sometimes the simplest solution is the best solution. Don't get bogged down in trying to reinvent the wheel.
Keep it simple.
Yep.
Keep it elegant. Any other words of wisdom for our aspiring coding ninjas out there?
You know, at the end of the day, practice, persistence, and a positive attitude are key. Embrace the learning process. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and celebrate those victories, big or small.
There you have it, your roadmap to navigating the sometimes scary, always exciting world of online coding challenges. Remember, these challenges, they're more than just hurdles to clear. They're opportunities to learn, to grow, and to show off your coding superpowers.
They really are.
So until next time, happy coding.
That's a great point. Finding that perfect balance, it's like walking a tightrope sometimes.
It really is. It's about finding that sweet spot where elegance meets efficiency.
All right, so we've talked about a lot of really useful stuff today. Practice, building that solid foundation, understanding algorithms, writing clean code, planning our attack, optimizing for efficiency.
Yeah, we've covered a lot of ground.
We really have. But let's bring it all back to our listener who's maybe feeling a bit overwhelmed, but also excited to tackle these challenges. Any final words of wisdom to send them off with? You know, it's like, remember that feeling when you finally solve a really tough puzzle?
Oh, yeah, that aha moment.
Exactly. It's the best feeling. And that's what coding challenges can be like. They're these puzzles waiting to be solved. So embrace the challenge. Don't be afraid to experiment. And most importantly, have fun with it.
I love that. Embrace the challenge, have fun, and celebrate those victories along the way.
Exactly.
Well, there you have it, folks. Your crash course in acing those online coding challenges. Remember, they're not just about getting the job. They're about pushing yourself, expanding your skills, and becoming a coding ninja.
That's what it's all about.
Until next time, happy coding.